For my cultural interview, I interviewed a friend of mine. His name is Amir. Now, Amir is from Iran, but when he first meets someone new, he says he's Persian. Okay? And you can guess why he probably says that. And also, he is a Muslim. Now, I met him through my girlfriend, through her sociology class. They had a sociology project together, and I just happened to be there a few days. So it worked out perfectly for this interview and for this class. So I asked him a lot of questions, but there's a few that really stood out to me that I thought were really interesting. So I asked Amir, what are some traditions in his culture that are different from my own? Well, he says that before he starts eating, he always gives thanks to God. Well, that's not that much different than the Christian culture. But what I've noticed in Christian culture is that some pray before they eat, some don't. It's not really frowned upon if you don't. But if you're a Muslim, then you follow the rules that are given to you by Islam. So they all do that, which I thought was pretty cool. I found this really interesting. He said when he sees a new baby, it's customary to whisper in their ear, I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, Arhan. All right? And that really just means that he's sending a spiritual message to the baby to worship Allah. And that's because infants and babies are considered pure and innocent. Alright, so I noticed this one myself, and I was really hesitant to ask him this, but I noticed that he shaved his armpits. Now, most men that I know don't shave their armpits, so I had to just bring it up. I didn't know if he swam or something like that. But the reason he does, he says, is because in Islam, that there's a rule on cleanliness, and that is that you have to shave your armpits and your groin area. And I had no idea they had to do that. Now, one of the bigger questions I asked him was if he felt ever discriminated against. And I knew what the answer was going to be, but he gave me several situations. He says that when he's in a grocery store, he notices that here in Brunswick, that when he's in a grocery store and he's standing in line, everybody's like kind of far away from him in the line, like weirdly far away from him, and that just makes him feel awful. And he is always getting stared at. If he walks into Target or Walmart or anywhere like that, he's always getting stared at because he's wearing his traditional wear and his robe. And I don't agree with it. I don't think he should be singled out just because he's a Muslim. And he told me a story that he was in public school, and he went to school in South Georgia, and he was cornered in a classroom by some rednecks. I'm going to go ahead and call them rednecks. And they were harassing him, and they were threatening to beat him up until a teacher saw that and broke them up, and he immediately began homeschooling after that. And I think that's just quite awful. So another question, and my last question that I thought was very interesting, is what are some accommodations that you require that are different from my own as if you were to come over? He uses a foot bath. Alright, I don't have a foot bath. But if he did come over, he'd want a place where he could wash his feet because he prays like 5 times a day. And 4 of those days are like in the afternoon into the evening. So he'd need a place to wash his feet. He doesn't eat dead meat. He doesn't eat pork. And he doesn't drink alcohol. So being in college, he said he feels like an outcast. But he he's not an outcast. More power to him for not doing that. Also, if he was to come over, he would need a quiet room and know which way to face, Mecca. And this last one, he's not supposed to watch TV with girls that are exposed, but he said he does anyway. And when he prays, he just asks for repentance, so he just does it all the time. So I really enjoyed this interview with Amir, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.